Welcome to the Financial Flow. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up on our latest videos. Almost the previous 3 years, the US government has spent over $5 trillion on COVID relief programs. Most economists realized that this was an excessive and probably not implemented well. I'm not going to tell you what's right or wrong there. The world doesn't need another viewpoint on government spending. This disproved the claim that the government doesn't have enough money for a UBI. $5 trillion could have given every working-age American $1,000 a month for the 2 years COVID adversely impacted business, raising doubts about whether this would have been a wiser use of the money. Indiscriminately, giving money to everyone is not as crazy as you would think, and arguments for a universal basic income are once again making their way into the mainstream. These ideas provide many evident advantages that go beyond simply being good to get free money. Some UBI enthusiasts say it will slash government spending and revolutionize how we run our economy. This video covers all of that, plus many of the issues with such a strategy. Problems transcend who will pay for all of this free money. As always, we must address a few questions to have an honest conversation regarding a universal basic income. Question number 1. How would this system pay for giving money to all citizens? Question number 2. Why is universal basic income better than traditional welfare, and before receiving free checks? Question number 3. What should we consider before implementing these systems in our economies? Universal basic income is a financial support system that pays money to almost everyone. Normal UBI ideas don't include benefits for persons under 18 nor citizens. Everyone else gets the same amount. It's universal. If you're a full-time student, you get the UPI. If you're a professional, you get the UBI. Now, as for how much this universal payment is, different suggestions in countries at different times for varying amounts of money, but if you check into this topic, you'll undoubtedly find Andrew Yang's $1,000 per month payment. So let's use it as an example. But other policymakers have asked for more liberal versions. This $1,000 per month payment means different things to different people. The wealthy generally won't notice the payment. The working professional will utilize it to supplement their income, and the student may be able to study full-time with a part-time job versus half-time with a full-time job. This inherent marginal utility is part of the UBI's model's attractiveness and explains its high cost. The US spends around $500 billion a year on federal and state social programs. We're using pre-2020 estimates because COVID skewed the numbers. This also excludes Medicare and Medicaid, because major supporters of a UBI are not suggesting that it replaces either of those programs. Of that $500 billion, a not insignificant portion went to the administration of the social services, things like caseworkers, auditors, contact staff, managers, and all other general expenses that go into running an operation, as large as Social Security. If this was replaced with an automatic transfer to everyone, most of the overhead could be eliminated, lowering costs. Now, there are 3 fundamental difficulties with this argument. The first being is simple arithmetic. Yes, the American government spends around $500 billion a year on Social Security. If it adopted a universal basic income, it could do away with all of these programs. $1,000 a month for all eligible Americans would cost at least $2.5 trillion. This also makes the argument of decreasing administrative expenses meaningless. Even if administrative costs were at the high end of some projections and could be removed altogether, you'd save $100 billion only to spend an extra $2 trillion by implementing a UBI. The third concern is that $1,000 a month is below the poverty level for a single-person household with no supplemental income. This payout is inadequate if a recipient has disabled children or lives in a high-cost area. There are flaws with welfare systems in practically every country in the world that has them, administrative costs being the top of the troublesome iceberg. But there is a reason why countries spend so much on ensuring sure recipients get the proper amount of money. You don't want welfare recipients to starve or to take advantage of the system to collect more money than they need without contributing to the economy. But moral issues aside, there is no genuine plan for universal basic income without boosting taxes. Most backers of a UBI accept it will be paid for through greater taxes, especially on high-income workers and enterprises. Depending on progressive tax bands, middle-income households don't earn more or less than without the UBI. They may earn $12,000 more each year, but they'll pay $12,000 more in taxes due to a rise in income tax rates. Of course, for low-income homes that may have been subsidized by traditional assistance systems, very little of the additional $12,000 in income will be taxed, essentially subsidizing their household budget. Taxes to fund the UBI need to be discussed carefully. If everyone had an extra $1,000 in their pocket every month, they could spend it at businesses, which could pass it on to their suppliers, investors, or employees. This is the basic idea of all economic stimulus. More money in the economy means more consumption, investment, and employment, all else being equal. But it also means increased inflation. Inflation is the UBI's biggest challenge, bigger than funding it. So much money in the economy, outside of a significant downturn, will cause demand pull inflation. If revenue hikes fully cover UBI expenditures, the government will be undertaking expansionary fiscal policy, just bringing in and spending more money. If this reasoning is accurate, the stimulus benefits we discussed before would be undone, because nobody would have an extra $1,000 in their pocket each month. A UBI would stimulate the economy, because while the government may not be giving out more money overall, it is giving more to lower income households, while collecting tax money from wealthier households. If someone making $5 million a year pays an extra $1 million in tax, their lifestyle probably won't change significantly. They'll still live a gorgeous home, drive whatever car they want, travel wherever they want, and eat out without thinking twice. If that person had an extra $12,000 a year, it's unlikely their spending patterns would alter. But for low-income people, these modifications would make a major difference. Most people don't save anything, so whatever they earn goes to taxes or spending, especially low-income people. Since the UBI would raise low-income people's net income, they would spend more, probably by close to $12,000. So the net result would be small reductions in high-income people spending and enormous increases in lower-income household spending, which would put substantial upward pressure on consumer prices. UBI sounds weird, but it might work. UBI is often advocated as a solution to the problem of automation. What will we do when machines do our jobs better than we can? What the UBI like does well is use a thought experiment or case study to address many of the main difficulties in current sophisticated economies: inequality, welfare, global capital mobility, and what to do when robots replace our employment. On one extreme, you have the laissez-faire, let them all starve approach, and on the other, what if we handed everyone free money? Obviously, the real solution lies somewhere in between those two extremes, but that doesn't mean there isn't value in thinking about how something like this could play out. Likewise, I don't think people like Andrew Yang genuinely believe that the US would ever adopt this proposed UBI system, but just the fact that he raised the idea in a presidential campaign means that a lot of people have learned about it. No one can foretell the future, least of all economists. But we must always test innovative approaches to make economic participants' lives more comfortable. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a good one.